Hello guys, hi, how are you? Today I will explain the integration of refugees. One of the major issues in the Australian society is integration of refugees during 2007 to 2008. Australian government offered approximately 13,000 humanitarian visas to people from country under conflict. When these refugees arrived in Australia, they have existing issues of malnutrition and undernutrition. In addition to these issues, they are faced with issues of adjusting to new social and cultural practices of Australia. They perceive themselves different in the term of cultural, religion, race, class, and the other dimensions of identity. Australia is unique in terms of national or community identity, as the Australia is multicultural nation. It is built upon the concept of migration, but since this Second World War, the focus is in maintaining Australian identity as the white nation, which is enforced by means of Australian values, which are not defined clearly but enforced upon the new refugees during their resettlement. Australian population see refugees as the part of the society which doesn't belong to nation identity of Australia. They are marginalized on basis of their skin color, racial background, and language capabilities. The government enforces the learning of language and the Australian culture in order to reduce their deficiencies, which are the cultural value, not the deficiencies. Thus, government marginalize refugees under name of cultural adjustment. There is no appreciation of different as the positive things. There is a need to create awareness and recognition about the assisting children and families from the countries with histories of trauma and loss. There should a greater emphasis on create and nurturing hope amongst young refugee children. Within the educational context, the curriculum should provide orientation program that creates hope amongst young refugees children and create awareness amongst their peers about their cultural and the social background. The early education intervention program for refugees and immigrant children, the focus should be addressing past difficulties and trauma as well as supporting them and facing challenges of the adjustment in a new home countries. There is a need for change in perception amongst the community members about refugees and migrants from non-white ethnic background, instead of comforting and imposing issues value in these new members of society. Their resettlement should be based on their own cultural awareness and personal experience as refugees or immigrants. Education plays a vital role as it can help in creating cultural awareness amongst community members and school staff and students. The integration and resettlement of non-white refugees in the white society requires physiology adjustment by means of social support and integration mode of acculturation, presence of like ethical, cultural peers, and sense of this school belonging. As a teacher, there is a need to understand refugee children in the context of their environment, as they cannot be understood independent of their environments. The development of self-identity and growth of their children should be based on their inherited genetic makeup and environmental factors, so the children will not be confused about their identity in the new country of settlement. Thus, the curriculum and teaching methods should take into account family factors and the cultural identity of the children. The most important aspect of education would be to engage child in increasingly complex activities with one or more person with whom child has strong mental emotional attachment. Amongst refugee children involves teaching goals formation, modeling problem solving, and inspiring agentic thought. To overcome the challenges of marginalization of refugee children, the educator should create appropriate knowledge amongst all the students regarding the political background and history of conflict in these nations. Education with difficult community identity in a way that refugee children can preserve their community identity and coexist with the community with Australian identity. The curriculum should involve the native stories from the country of origin of refugee children, so the Australian children acknowledge their identity in the Australia. This will also generate interesting about the different cultural value, and children will not perceive this new value as threat and will be able to integrate it within the community identity. That's why my explain. So thank you very much.